What's going on, everybody? Dem Boys back at it. This is going to be pro tips for our 3-man disengage. I mean, look, let's just keep it real. The best heat in the world means nothing if you don't have your back end in order, alright? I'm going to show you how to prevent getting waxed up the seams. I'm even going to show you how to play it with man coverage, and a bit more. So let's just get right into it. We're going to go ahead and get started with our new setup, some pro tips for that. Then we'll get into the pro tips for the zone. So we're going to go ahead and pick cover 1 QB contain. Same setup. You're going to pinch your defense, slant your pass rush inside, contain, put B on a spy. Now here's where you got some differences. We've got X over here. You can do whatever you want with X. You know, you can put him on a purple. Well, you can't bluff blitz him. Don't bluff blitz him. That'll screw up your contain. Beyond that, you can really do whatever you want. So we're going to go ahead and put him on a spy. A big part of the reason when we talk about pro tips here, a big part of the reason you put somebody on a spy or a blitzing angle this year, as I've told you want to definitely do this year, is it seems as though they move around a little bit better post-snap, and it allows you to potentially manipulate the line. So the benefits are twofold. The next question you may have is, well, what if I don't want to press? I don't want to get burned, right? So what we'll do is we'll base a line, and then we'll base a line again. All right, so that double baseline will get your guys back into position, but in this case, they won't be pressed. The only thing you got to worry about is with some type of spread out sets, this guy may be a little bit out of position. You may have to move him over, but you know, you really think about it, even in a spread set, the inside receiver isn't too far out, so not a huge issue. But we'll see this in motion. Obviously, you still get the quick disengage. A lot of times when you're running the cover 3, people will try to hit you with different cover 3 beaters that do not perform well against man. That is a great advantage of using this setup. So here's the man setup in game. This is after one baseline, and there you go. You see my second baseline, pulls everybody right into position. You know this guy was shook. He was looking for cover 3 all day. Didn't get it. So where this really does its best work is against compressed sets, simply because it's easier to set up the back end and cover everything. So right now, I'm just going to give you a universal back end setup that I will always use, all right? As a base rule of thumb, I will absolutely never, ever, ever allow this guy to be the single high safety. That will be my user, all right? So what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and set everything up. Now, once we've got everything set, if I'm worried about getting beat deep, how I'm going to actually handle that is I'm going to base a line after the setup, all right? So you get in your setup, then you base a line. That is important. Now, I'm going to bring up my DB audibles, and A, so the safety that's down in the box, is always going to end up being my single high. So we would actually end up with something that looked like this. Maybe we take A, right, put him on a purple. I don't know, maybe a cloud flat, shade him outside. Whatever you want to do, right? Maybe Y goes into a mid-read. So this is actually my base shell. When I play this against any kind of compressed set, and really until somebody proves otherwise, this is how I'm going to come out. The one area where you do tend to be a little bit light, no matter what, is right here, as far as down the field. And then for rather obvious reasons, you're a little bit light out here down in the flats, right? These guys are all brought in. So that's kind of the areas where you have to be aware, where folks will eventually maybe try to find some room. So as a user, I'm going to go ahead and read what's happening. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and take away A right there, right? But that's kind of the nice thing about having a complete cover 3 shell around you. It really does allow you to rover, and now you're going to have, say, Ward with Acrobat in a perfect world, or Dion or something like that to fly around with. So another question that was posed to me is, how do you handle spread sets? Well, while we're only, sending 3, utilizing 4 for this, so we have enough people back there, they're not in a great position, and you're limited, right? Well, now we have man coverage, so we're a little less limited, but against 4 wide, do you maybe want a linebacker in man coverage? I'm probably not. Probably not. So, I'll show you how we're going to handle that. We'll set things up. Again, if I'm worried about getting beat deep, I can go ahead and base a line. If not, you don't have to. Now, what I'm going to do here, this is where I would actually take Y and man him up with Y. And you have a few options. You know, I could just kind of do it like this. Again, you know where you're going to be weak. You're going to be weak right over here. But it's harder for you to play rover rover without a yellow. So another option would be to take A and go ahead and man him up. And then it's up to you. You know, I could go ahead and maybe I just rover with this guy, or I rover with this guy. You know, however you want. But what you'll see is it's going to do a much better job of bagging things. You know, again, obviously, then you're going to become vulnerable down in one of the flats, but that's the cat and mouse game that we play. You have the tools to be able to take all this stuff away now. So this is just going to show you guys how I handle spread. I'm taking that initial high safety and manning him up with the slot defender. You saw there in the first one, you tried to run him up the seam. Didn't quite work. Lastly, we need to make sure that you're using the correct tools to make this hit home, right? If you use a wrench as a hammer, no matter where I tell you to pound that nail, you're not going to have the experience that somebody using a hammer has, right? So, the first thing that we're going to notice, we want as much speed as possible along our D line. So I've got outside linebackers. You know, in a perfect world, maybe I would have a different guy in there. I'm just not Mr. Moneybags. Speed would be great. Maybe Glover's an option. Now, we're going to go ahead and put under pressure as opposed to edge threat. So we save 1 AP per end. And if you think about it, we know they're going to go ahead and disengage. If they don't get home, we can still force bad passes all over the place, all right? So under pressure is definitely an ability that I really recommend, along with the obvious having speed. The only other thing that I want to talk about for this is your user needs to have Acrobat. All right, if you're not using Acrobat for 1 AP, you're just doing it wrong in general. But, I mean, why not have a super fast corner with Acrobat for your user? It only makes sense. Guys, I know this was helpful. Like, comment, definitely smash that subscribe. Dem boys, peace.